Coming up on this episode of Heal Squad, I don't know if you know this, but a viewer brought it to my attention. So we were talking about your last book. I was right here and I said, my dear friend MaryAnn's going to be on the show today. She's going to help us become our own medium and to channel and to tune in. And I said, for example, I would tune in and I look up to the ceiling and said, there's something wrong with my pancreas. This was mere months, not even, before I was diagnosed. I didn't even know what I was doing. I literally tuned in without realizing and then said that. Hello, Heal Squad. Hope you're feeling well out there, wherever you are in this crazy, beautiful world. If you are not feeling well today, don't worry, because I have just the guest for you. My dear friend, MaryAnn DiMarco, is here. She's an author, motivational speaker, internationally recognized psychic medium and teacher, and has been for me as well on my journey. Today, she's going to be talking about her new book, The Guides Book, about how spirit guides can ultimately be our ride or dies when it comes to mapping out the road ahead. We are going to go deep into how to access them, what it sounds like, the whole deal, friends. But first, our quote of the day from MaryAnn. We don't have to know what the future is going to look like. What we're best at is knowing what it should feel like. Often the very best thing is outside our frame of reference. That's where the real work happens, the dance between you and spirit. And with that, friends, let's get into it with MaryAnn. So, MaryAnn, I'm so excited to have you back on. Your new book, The Guides Book, is going to help us map out life's journey with spirit by our side. So first of all, I want you to explain to us, what is a spirit guide?
Spirit guides, first of all, thank you for having me. I love you. I'm so happy to be here.
Same.
Spirit guides are our universal team on the other side, group of energies that are here to help guide us in our lives. They are here to highlight our higher self, our higher knowing, and they are here to help us co-create everything that we came here to do, what we came here to learn, how we came to serve, the relationships that we have with self and others. And they are here to have us, they want us to really call upon them so that they can give us the breadcrumbs and help us navigate.
So what's the difference between, and is there a difference between spirit guides and angels?
To me, they are all part of our universal team. I make the distinction in the book so that people can understand the different types of services and energies that they have and they're willing to give. So angels, for me, higher level energies, very purposeful. If I am looking for healing, if I am looking for protection, I'm calling on Archangel Raphael, I'm calling on Archangel Michael. They have just a little bit more of a definitive purpose. I do believe they can create miracles. I like to have angels around me if I want to give love to somebody else. If I want to call on them to just give love out into the world, I'll go to some like a celestial angel. And so to me, they're here to help with a bigger purpose, a greater purpose that might be a little bit even more global. When I am talking about spirit guides, they are here to help us navigate our life much more specifically. They are here to kind of give us those breadcrumbs, help us through what we signed up for, doubts, fears, all the things that we came in here to experience in this beautiful school. There are teachers on the other side. And if we learn how to tune into them, we can follow the breadcrumbs that they're putting out for us to follow. And then we have our loved ones. And our loved ones, for me, are very supportive. They come in with, I am here with you. I haven't left. I still love you. All is well. They're kind of cheering us on in a different way.
Are they able to help you in like kind of a direct way? Like, are you able to like really do that back and forth? Like, hey, should I take this job? Is it going to be okay? Like, or are they just kind of...
They're more supportive than they are directive.
Fucking shit.
I wonder if I wonder if sometimes like they're not supposed to be a Budinsky because they already did their life, and part of the human experience is that we are here to learn. It's almost like they're like, are like, well, you have to kind of fly on your own.
Yeah, but the whole point you're saying the spirit guides is they're here to guide us. So like, I want the guidance, but like...
Loved ones are a little different, right? And then you want to ask open-ended questions. Try not to ask the yes or no things.
Yeah. Okay.
Because what we want to do is develop conversation. And yes or no can be, when you are doing this instinctually and intuitively and you don't have time to mess around in meditation, I always say do the 5-second rule. What do you think your answer is? Give yourself 5 seconds. So should we buy a place in Palm Beach? 5-second rule, right? When do you think that will happen? 2 years, right? You'll hear it like this.
Yeah.
And just trust. The other part of that is, this is really good for you, where does that sit in your body?
The answer.
Yes, because if you are thinking about it and you're creating it within your own head, probably won't sit very well. I know when my ego is in there, my own narrative is in there.
Yes, that's the distinction I think people need to understand is like, how do you know what you're hearing is not you creating the answer?
So when you feel it, like the inner workings of a clock I described, in that solar plexus, that's where our claircognizance lies, our inner intuition. And for me, when I'm in a flow with spirit, I can feel it in my body. It feels like a flow. There's no resistance. It might make me uncomfortable. It might be out of my comfort zone and all those things. That's okay. But I know the answer. That's the answer, right? It's sort of this, yeah, that's it.
I wonder if the uncomfortableness is the clarity that it's real. Like I was doing an acupuncture session yesterday and he was doing a little energy work with me as the needles were in, and he was asking, or I was asking my body certain questions. And at one point I started laughing. He's like, what did they say? And I go, I'm not saying, I can't. This is so weird. And he's like, what? And I go, I saw a cheerleader with pom-poms saying yes. And I'm like, that's effing weird.
But is it? Not really weird. It's like they're using your frame of reference. They're trying to get your attention. That's exactly it. You're being cheered on. They're saying, yes, go for it. And now it's our mind that wants to explain that away. But your higher knowing knows that it's truth.
Yeah.
Hindsight's a great way, right? Oh, I knew I shouldn't have taken that job, or I knew this was going to happen. That little quiet voice, that's our most intuitive self. And if we can get ahead of that, which our guides are trying to help us do, we will feel it in the body. We will definitely feel how that is a flow. There's an ease about it. We can sit, it might not always be what we want to hear too, which can make us feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Sometimes my guides say things to me and I give a big eye roll. I'm like, oh gosh, whatever, but I know my inner knowing knows that it is correct, not only for self, but for them too. We're working together.
I guess for somebody who's first starting out with this, because as you said earlier, I definitely have established that connection of like ask and receive, back and forth, back and forth. Now, that was in times of like serious desperation and needing help with my mom, or really it was like with my mom or someone else. But sometimes when I'm asking for myself, that's when it gets convoluted and confusing, where I'm like, oh no, is that just me making that up? Like I'll be talking to my mom and in my head, I'm like, did I just make that up? But I think, and you can explain whether this is true or not, I think you can also maybe rely on the idea that you already know the answers to everything. You just aren't listening and don't want to hear it sometimes, right?
100% yes. 1,000% yes. And that's why I wrote this book, because the answers lie within you. You do not have to come to a psychic medium to get your answers. I'm glad that you do, right? I'm glad that people want to sit with a psychic and sit with intuitives, but the answers lie within us. And all a psychic is doing really is confirming what you yourself already know to be true.
Yes.
And I say that all the time. All I'm doing through them through me, I should say, is highlighting what you yourself know. Normally, and I'm talking about psychic stuff, not so much mediumship, but the psychic stuff, that is just picking up on your story. I'm picking up on your energy. I'm picking up on what's going on, but you already know it. Oftentimes I'll have a sitter be across from me and they'll say, I know. I knew that. because we're just reaffirming and confirming. If they look at me and they say, I don't understand what you're talking about, or, sometimes we kind of get prophetic, so there is a different in energy, but most of the time we can do that for ourselves easily. We just have to allow ourselves and give ourselves permission to walk into that role, to take that part of our life and say, oh, I can do this for me. And it's been one of the most empowering and freeing things that I have done for myself, is to navigate through all parts of myself and the decisions that I've made, the things from the past and the present. I get really personal in this book because I don't have to, just because I'm a spiritualist and a psychic doesn't mean that I'm, not going through it.
Yeah. Oh, no, I was reading it on my front porch in Connecticut, and I was like, oh, gosh, she's really opening up. And I appreciated that. I think everybody does.
Thank you. Thanks. Because I felt like people were looking to me and saying, oh, and I was hearing it. Well, you must go through everything with ease, or no, I'm pretty flawed just like everybody else. I think what I have learned is to just answer it in a more productive way. It's really the only thing that I take all of these tools and I work with my guides, and I want to get to the bottom of things. I'm really curious about my own life and who I am and what I came here to do. And I navigate it just differently.
Yeah.
And my hope is that this illuminates how you yourself can do it too, in your own authentic way.
I think that's a really important point, and it's something that I really was passionate about doing too. I just recently had to talk to myself, in fact, yesterday on the highway. I was like, Maria, you have applied so many amazing tools in the worst moments of your life. Why are you letting this be different? You need to apply the same tools. And I literally talked to myself. I'm like, bitch, get the fuck up. Stop it. Stop it right now. Stop your crying, because you have X, Y, and Z. And you should just be grateful you have X, Y, and Z. Yes, you're going to have your moments, but you are not going to wallow in this. You are not going to stay in it, because you didn't stay in the worst stuff. And
oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, you didn't stay in the worst stuff for sure.
But the whole idea was like going through it differently. Because most people just hear this one way. It's like, I can't believe this happened to me. I can't believe they did this to me. I can't believe. But that's where some of these tools really come in handy, where it's like, wait, maybe this is happening for my betterment, for a greater good. And I don't know what that is yet. And I have to be patient.
That shift in perspective that you're talking about is key to not only having us be accountable for how we carry our energy and how we choose to see things in life, but what it does is it allows us clarity. It gives us a lot of clarity on how we can understand ourselves on a deeper level. And a lot of this book isn't about channeling for others. It's about channeling for you, yourself, and what you and who you are on all different levels. And I found that as I wrote the book, and I was going through a lot, even when I was writing the book, I was able to reflect on lots of parts of my life. And I was starting to be very accountable in how I chose to see things, how I still continue to choose to see things, and how I can get to work on improving in those areas. It also led me into really beautiful, deep spaces of gratitude, because that perception got very healthy.
Yeah.
And I started to see things very differently. I also noticed the expectations that I was putting on other people to fulfill some of these parts of myself. And I couldn't have done and I had to be accountable for that too. So now, the process of writing this book, even, I've learned how to work with my guides and get very, very curious. I want to know why I feel the way I do. How did it start? Who gave it to me in the first place? How can I resolve it? And then how can I do better going forward? Because situations are on repeat. And when they're on repeat, and I always say I'm starting to annoy myself, that's a soul contract. I might as well get to work on it. I came here to do it.
It's going to keep happening.
Got to keep happening. We might as well take care of it. And when I do, this is just the process that I use.
You said something earlier, and I can't remember, something about needing that external something. You just said it, not external validation, but it was something like, but it goes back to all of this. Like, we have to learn how to go inward and listen to ourselves and not need to hear from everybody else. And
our answers are not out here. They're not out in the ethers.
And nobody knows what you really want. You do. So why are we so eager to have other people figure us out. But I say this because I want to go back to understanding how to do this. Perhaps an interesting way would be to work with a psychic. But before you work with a psychic, ask yourself the questions, write down your answers, and then see if you're validated later, because then you can start to learn to trust yourself a little bit more.
When I used to do readings, and now when I work with the students that I do, oftentimes they'll say to me, I have a lot of questions, and I'll say, well, just give it a minute. Let me just see what Spirit has to say. And then they're always amazed at how Spirit answered their questions, that they're like, oh, well, you answered everything. This is exactly what I wanted. And again, we go back to picking up on the energy of why the person is in front of me in the first place. And we also can sit there and say, well, this is what Spirit wants you to know. And you already knew that because you wrote down these questions. Yeah. You knew the topics that were important to you, because your inner knowing knows. It's not going to lie to you. They're not trying to be cryptic. And we're just affected by our world. We're products of our environment and what we've experienced in life. And so parts of these self just shut down. And your guides are just trying to wait. Every time I write a book, I hear the same thing. Wake them up, wake them up. And so I'm just trying to, through my guides, help people wake up to what they know to be true.
So how can people start recognizing the signs, the breadcrumbs that their spirit guides are sharing with them?
First, ask for them, right? We want to cue to your guides that you're ready to see them. And then you can do it in various ways. You can sit in meditation and just develop on repeat and then watch the validation come through other people in life. So what you're putting throughout, like I always say, I'm always amazed at how topics come in through other people that I myself have been working on. When I was going through menopause, I remember thinking, oh my gosh, this is like, I don't know what to do. I don't know the decisions that I want to make for my body. And then sure enough, women friends just started talking about practices that they were using, hormones that they were on, or whatever it was that was working for them. And I was able to have that sit within myself and say, okay, this resonates with me, this doesn't. And so as soon as you start speaking about it, allow yourself to receive the themes, the repetitive themes that come back at you. That is spirit. Spirit will absolutely work through other people. It's one of my favorite ways they love to show off. Come up in a news feed. I mean, they're very clever.
Yeah.
You can also ask for signs, of course. The thing with signs is that once you see it, say thank you, and then take action behind it. Don't keep asking for the sign. Because we have a tendency to say, can you just show me the hummingbird one more time? Like, you've seen it, say thank you and move on. You also have to accept that if you're not seeing it, there might be something that you're missing. So you want to say to your guides, what am I missing in this moment? Can you show me? And then maybe we automatic write, which is direct journaling from spirit, and start to receive the information. A great way is to open and question, what is it that you want me to know in this moment? And you write that at the top of the page. And then allow yourself just to receive that information. It's a little tricky here. If you've never done it before, you have to trust that you're not making it up.
Yeah, that's the thing,
right,
is
that it's
really
being given to you. It's just untraining your brain, retraining it, I should say, right? We're just undoing some of that habitual thinking.
But also, it's also not even just that, MaryAnn. It's letting go of all of the things that society tells us and just being open. Like I told you, I'm sitting on that acupuncture table and the weirdest shit is coming through. And I'm like, oh my God, he's going to think I'm a kook. But it's just what I'm seeing. So I have to be okay with what's coming up is coming up for a reason. I don't know.
You have beautiful trust. And I tell everyone before you start, can we just get to a point where we can say, okay, I might not exactly feel it just yet, but I'm going to trust that this is actually true and that I can make connection and that what I am hearing is direct from spirit, that they are highlighting my inner knowing and highlighting my inner voice. So it will sound a little bit like you sometimes, right? Because it is your story and spirit comes in your own voice. And we just have to move into those spaces of trust. The more you do that, the more validation spirit will give you. They love to show off and give you validation. And I think that from all the years that I've been doing this work, I don't know that I'd be in the space that I'm in now without that validation. I can honestly say it has very much helped when I go, oh my gosh, how did that happen? There's just things that you can't deny. The more you do it, the more you open yourself up, the stronger you will get it, the more you will trust. It's just like any other muscle. We just need to nourish it.
Yeah, I agree. In the book, you talk about avoiding spiritual bypassing. Can you share with everyone what that means?
Yes. Spiritualize your way out of your things. We can spiritualize our way. I think what had happened was I started to hear a lot of people say, well, I'm just going to manifest something else and I'm not going to deal with what's coming up for me. Or I'm just going to surrender over and hand that over and then all will be well. And then they were getting very frustrated because it was just coming up again. And the problem with, I think, using spirituality as an answer is that you're relying on something that's outside of yourself to take care of it for you. And what I learned is that when I use my spirituality as a tool, I myself can get to my answers. And that means that if I talk about having issues with scarcity and fear around that, it forced me to stop looking externally to how to fix this. But when I went internally and worked on it, it was resolved in a whole new way. It was resolved in a whole new way. And I think that we have to be careful about how much responsibility we're putting on our spirituality.
So when I ask for help, I'm asking God. Like I'll be praying. I mean, unless like I'm asking for healing, then I'll talk to Saint Nectarios, our healing saint, or
Beautiful.
the Virgin Mary for protection. But when I'm asking for help, for example, I'd be like, God, I'm so scared. I don't know what to do with my mom. This is what's happening. I don't know what to do. And then the next day I'd be on my computer and a pop-up would come up and I'd go down the rabbit hole and I'd find the answer. So is it less about saying, hey, spirit guides, I need help? Like, can it just work like that too?
It could be both. It could be both. If I'm in a deep state of especially fear for somebody that I care about and love, yeah, I'm heading right to the source. Dear God, please show me the way. Show me what it is that I can do in this moment to help this individual or help myself or whatever it is. I mean, there are definitely levels of why we dial up and who we dial up, who we call upon for sure. Allow for it all. And using figures of faith and what you're comfortable with and what resonates with you most is exactly what I suggest people do, because I don't think it should be something outside of oneself. A lot of things that I see, I didn't grow up in a religious household. I grew up in this kind of spiritual household. So my scope of things is pretty broad. So I'll allow for all kinds of different things to come in. I have no problem with that. But I also have read enough people to know that when spirit is working through me, I am speaking their spiritual language, not mine. So I'm always pleased that it lands in a way that resonates with the sitter the most, that resonates with my students the most, because we all come from different walks of life. So yeah, you can call upon whoever you want, whoever comes to you, because your guides are providing it in the first place anyway. They're saying to you, talk to God right now, and he'll help you.
Yeah. What I love about this is the return to us. I think whether you're talking to Tony Robbins, everyone's saying the same thing. Everything you need is within you. Mm-hmm. You're the one.
I believe it.
You're the one that has to get up. You're the one who has to find the way. No, Santa isn't coming. Lassie, I watched an episode of Lassie last night. So random. I got on my TV. Nothing was working. I had to sign into all the accounts. I was like, F this. I'm not signing into this shit. What's available? And then I see on live TV, Lassie was on. I haven't watched Lassie since I was a kid. Lassie and Flipper were my favorites. And one of the things I'm kind of deep diving on with Athena right now is the ideas that these TV shows and movies all gave us, that someone was going to rescue us. And I remember just wanting to be rescued so desperately my whole life. And it started as a kid, rescue me from these situations, and then rescue me from the rest of it. And you have to wake up one day and realize that only you can rescue you. And what I love about this whole conversation is we have to stop outsourcing everything and start going within, because the answers are within. We just have to trust ourselves. I had a mystic on the show once. I love her, Deirdre Haid. I don't know if you're familiar with her, but she sat on that couch across the way and she said, stop saying you're crazy. You're not crazy, you're wise. And it rings in the back of my head every time I want to say, because I even diagnosed the brain tumor. I remember saying, I know you're going to think I'm crazy, but I think I have a brain tumor. In fact, when you were on the show last time, I don't know if you know this, but a viewer brought it to my attention. So we were talking about your last book, Medium Mentorship, right?
Medium Mentor, yep.
Medium Mentor. And I was right here. And I said, my dear friend MaryAnn's going to be on the show today. She's going to help us become our own, medium and to channel and to tune in. And she's going to teach us how to do that. And I said, for example, I would tune in and I look up to the ceiling and said, I would tune in and think there's something wrong with my pancreas.
Oh, I did not know you said that.
I did. And then we proceeded to talk about the pancreas for an extended amount of time. I don't know why. I mean, I do now, but this was mere months, not even, before I was diagnosed. And I was like, and I keep trying to figure out what's wrong with me. I did this, I did that, and all in this episode. And someone goes, you called this a long time ago. But
it's incredible.
If we don't pay attention, if we don't trust ourselves, like imagine if I had trusted myself then and say, you know what? Why don't we investigate this? I just felt something about the pancreas. Now, I didn't even know what I was doing. I literally tuned in without realizing and then said that.
You do it very instinctually. You do. And it's because of that beautiful faith that you have. You're trusting. We can say the words. I hope, you might think I'm crazy, but as long as you're saying it after the but, fill it in however you like.
Yeah.
What I have learned is that if this is crazy, then I'm certifiable, because it has, they have just proven themselves over and over and over to me. I've been called a lot of things and judged and all the things, but I will never let anyone question my faith and question what I do and how I can make connection and why I feel so strongly that I am not unique in this situation. I know, what I know to be true is that everybody can do this. You just have to give yourself permission and say yes to yourself, that your answers are within you. I often have people say, well, I don't know. And I'll say, yes, you do. Just sit with it for a moment. Or maybe it's not meant to come to the surface right now. Maybe we can trust divine timing on certain things. Hear your words. How are you talking about yourself? What are the things that you are saying? And be very aware of what you're putting out into your space, because what we say is incredibly powerful. How we perceive our lives are very powerful. And this is part of co-creation and manifestation. And what our guides are here are saying, how do you want to look at your life? Even when it's really, really hard, we can acknowledge this is really, really hard and I need help right now. And that's okay too.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay too. We don't have to have all the answers all the time. What we can know is maybe the answer is that you need help in this moment.
All right, Hill Squad, we're going to pause right here, but we are going to be back with MaryAnn DiMarco tomorrow. She's going to talk to us about trusting your inner guidance and building the daily spiritual practices that will strengthen those muscles for us, that are going to help us shift old patterns and choosing healthier narratives that serve your growth. So make sure you guys tune in tomorrow. In the meantime, be nice people, make good choices, and be present. Hey, Heal Squad, we have been on quite the journey together, and we're hearing from so many of you just how much this show is helping you heal and get better, and it makes us feel so good. We love, love, love it, and we just ask that you don't keep it to yourself. Spread the message and share the show,
or your favorite episode with your friends. And if you want to help us even more, you can leave us a 5-star rating and a comment on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and follow us on Instagram at Heal Squad. You can also DM us anytime because we love connecting with you. And finally, you can also join us on Patreon for our monthly live heal events with world-class healers and ad-free episodes exclusive only to Patreon and our Super Heal Squad for as little as $10 a month. So go to patreon.com/Heal Squad to join. Getting better isn't easy, friends, but as I say all the time, it's a whole lot easier if we can do it together. We love you all so much, and we love doing this thing called life with you.
This podcast and all related content published or distributed by or on behalf of Maria Menounos or MariaMenounos.com is for informational purposes only and may include information that is general in nature and that is not specific to you. Any information or opinions expressed or contained herein are not intended to serve as or replace medical advice, nor to diagnose, prescribe, or treat any disease, condition, illness, or injury, and you should consult the healthcare professional of your choice regarding all matters concerning your health, including before beginning any exercise, weight loss, or healthcare program. If you have or suspect you may have a healthcare emergency, please contact a qualified healthcare professional for treatment. Any information or opinions provided by a guest expert or host featured within website or on company's podcast are their own, not those of Maria Menounos or the company. Accordingly, Maria Menounos and the company cannot be responsible for any results or consequences or actions you may take based on information or opinions.